Rob, Jaden's done pretty well over the last couple of weeks. In particular, he's hit out last Wednesday. He's definitely trained up. I suppose he's served his penance in many ways. Not that he had anything to be penitent about, but he's definitely in our best mix when he's up and about, and I think that he's ready to go. So we should expect to see him run around on Saturday. Sorry, mate?
Sorry, mate. Did you miss what Jaden can offer your side last Thursday?
No, we didn't get the ball forward enough. Whenever we did, our forwards didn't have any trouble hitting the scoreboard as such. Our biggest issue wasn't in our front six or our forwards. It was largely how we set up the field and how we were defending the field, which, ultimately on a scores against perspective looked fantastic, but it doesn't help scoring and it doesn't help field position. So I think Jaden would have been another frustrated forward in the second half of last week's game. But having said that, he's earned his opportunity and it will be right to go.
So you might have got your wish with Rupert Wills getting a spot, just considering what we saw at training this morning, Nathan?
Yeah, well, Rupe's been, I suppose, gone are the days where we wait for team selection, isn't it? Anyway. No, Rupe's done extremely well. His last month's been really strong. He was probably a little bit stiff to miss round one, and was one of the players that came back in really good order off the isolation period. He's been in the squad the last couple of times we picked teams, and he's likely to get his chance as well. Do you want the outs? That's a rhetorical question. Anyway, yep, next. What's the next one? Oh, no, Broads is good. Obviously, going down behind the bench is not a great sign. When it comes up and the doc says we have to take him down and have a look, you never like that too much as a coach or in the coach's box. But he was able to come back out. He was a bit of a knee on knee, so a bit of bone bruising that he was able to get through. He trained fully today, so no, he's right to go. A warrior or a warrior? No, he is a warrior. There's no doubt that he just gets it done. You don't become an All-Australian by putting in good performances every now and then. You get it by being a consistently good performer, and that only comes about when you can perform. When you're having your best days, but also you can perform when you're having bad days. So Broads' resilience is unquestioned. His capacity to back up through physical concerns from both his body and the opposition. He's combative. He likes to play that way, and he enjoys the crash and bash. The shorter games probably helps him in that regard, and we're looking forward to what he can do as the season progresses.
There's have to be a bit of a wave of emotion and optimism coming out of the Saints, given how they played on Sunday. Does that present a challenge as well as like a pretty handy weekend?
Yeah, look, the Saints are playing really well. I mean, as far as their offense goes, they're moving the ball as cleanly and swiftly as anyone. They've got really good heat on the contest and heat on the ball when the opposition have it in their hands. And clearly their forward line with their small forwards, and in and around some really good and dominant aerial players at the moment. They pose a few questions. So they should be bullish about their performances and what we've seen, especially last week. We understand how important it's going to be to match their intensity and to impose our own intensity back onto them. we welcome that challenge and understand we played them in Morwell in the Marsh series and they moved the ball pretty well against us there. So there's some areas that we can improve in regards to our pressure on ball and our defensive elements, and that'll be a pretty important part of trying to best them on Saturday. Jordan, I saw elements of it, but I got to be honest, I didn't pay a lot of attention to it and haven't really given it a lot of thought since.
You picked a young Braden Maynard in his first game to take on the bare all-compassing Hawks.
Yes.
And you had no hesitation to throw him in, and here he is about to play 100k.
Yeah, look, I think I was here last week when I said I love him, and I do. He's a great young man. One of the I suppose a success story of our program as we've continued. But I mean that would be taking some of the very much due credit from Bruz. He's probably been challenged. There's probably 3 or 4 incidents throughout his career when he's really been challenged around an element, either preparation or maybe training standards or something in his game that needed to improve, that he really smarts from when he gets that feedback, as we all do. But he's so passionate about it, and his capacity to be able to absorb that information, to be able to look within himself about where he can improve, and then to make quantum lifts off that improvement, has been a standout in his career. You don't come in as a finished product, and you've got to find different ways as you go along. And I've just been so impressed with his capacity to improve himself, gradually and consistently as he's gone along his 100 games. So it's a good one to celebrate. His teammates love him. We love his physicality. Clearly, when we focus on the physicality, sometimes his elite skill gets overlooked. He's legitimately tough, and he just loves playing for his teammates. So he's a good egg. He's one of the boys that the rest of the group just loves to get around. He always provides energy and intensity in whatever he does, and it's going to be a great milestone to celebrate for us on Saturday. No, I think he understands that there's a pretty flat structure in terms of the hierarchy for the coach's pet, but no, he has been a beauty. I've got some kind words to say about all our boys, but it's obviously a great milestone for him, and very happy to espouse his strengths to anyone that wishes to listen. Yeah, well, I suppose you've got a process of elimination for you there, Mitch. But no, look, our midfield mix is good. No, if you look at Adam's Pendlebury side bottom, who have been very good players and are established senior players in our side, leaders as well. Yeah, they've been I suppose they've been the middle of our middle. They've really held everything together, and they're elite AFL midfielders. We've had obviously Tyler Brown, Rupert Wills, Braden Sy, Adam Trelaws not long back, and we've got some guys there that have got a challenge on their hands to come in and say that they can contribute as much or more than the established trio at this stage. We know that it takes more than just 3 or 4 players to fill out a midfield, and we have rotated our players through there a little bit more. You've seen Geordie in there quite a bit. Jamie Elliott, Tom Phillips has spent his time in there. Callum Brown occasionally. So these boys really hold up our midfield, and We think that Tyler is a player of the future. He did really well in round one. He was a little bit quieter in round two, but we think that that he can continue to improve as a footballer, getting exposed to the top level. Langers, yeah, it was good to see Langers back in full ground. He wear the yellow hat, which means he's the target player apparently. The last bloke to wear the yellow hat was Trav Varco, coming back from a shoulder injury, and he had about 3 or 4 massive contests and collisions in the first 20 minutes. So I don't know if you want to be wearing the yellow hat, but yeah, Langers was out and about, and his progress has been steady and significant. Yeah, he's still got a way to go, but a really important step for him, and I'm sure he enjoyed running around with in match simulation.
Nathan, have you had the chance yet to make contact with Heredia Lumumba?
No, I haven't heard from H. I've reached out privately, and of course made my comments on Thursday after the game. I think there's not a great deal to add there in the public forum. I think it's something that we really need to get in touch with Heredia about, and we're looking forward to that opportunity.
He does want a public apology or an acknowledgement for what went on. You don't feel that's needed yet?
I think there's more context that obviously we and Heredia have. My position was a personal statement around where we're at, stands today and has stood at any time with Heredia. So we look forward to being able to converse a little more openly, to be able to, as I said, put the context around what he has spoken about publicly and privately to us. But it's sort of 6 years old now. We need to know a little bit more about it to be able to support him and to be able to make the right decisions for him and for the football club, so that we can be at the cutting edge of this issue of racism in particular in sporting environments.
Do you understand there'd be Collingwood fans that would want this matter sorted as soon as possible?
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. Look, it's not a matter in my mind or of our minds in sorting it. There's nothing to sweep under the carpet. There's nothing to hide. There's opportunity in this, and the club, I think, are going about it in an appropriate manner. And I suppose the next step is to actually speak with Heredia and to see where he's at and what he wishes for. And the context is important in that. But yeah, I think our fans would clearly want to know how we carry ourselves as an organisation. And as I said, there's nothing being swept under the carpet. We're more than happy to have those conversations.
And Nathan, Adam Trelaw, is he pretty much good to go for next week, just given the training run we had today?
Yes and no. We don't want to project too far forward. There's plenty that can change in a week, and he's really only just sort of put himself back into full match simulation. If you ask Ads, he was ready. He was ready before today, and he's one of those competitors that continually wants to beat the curve and get ahead of the curve. So in his mind, he'll be ready really quickly. It's been a long time since he played, missing round one, and obviously with the time away in isolation. So I think some match practice for him will be important, and whether that's 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, we'll make that determination as we progress.
Actually, had a scratch match with the Tigers last Wednesday. Have you got any plans with the Saints for a similar year for those who missed out on that selection?
Yeah, look, we're very fortunate in that regard. We didn't anticipate that we were going to get as many opportunities for our VFL players as we have, or for the non-selected players as we have. So we think that we have plans. We definitely have solid plans for St Kilda on Saturday morning and a hit out there. But we think that we've got the next 2 weeks pretty much lined up as well. It needs to be rubber stamped by the AFL each week. But that's been a boon for our list. It's going to be a challenge as the season progresses, and we hope to be able to put these scrimmage hit-outs in as often as we possibly can. Fact being that it's the best chance that our players have of putting their hand up to prove themselves for selection and to find form. So yeah, we want to see a similar game time, and it was 16 v 16 last week for most of the game, and we anticipate it's going to be the same against the Saints. All good. Cox, he's not far away. He's been actually the hit out last Wednesday was good for him, and he's hands up. He's in contention for selection, and we found something out about Darcy last week. Darcy Cameron, he's capable in the role, and played really well for us. So it's a better problem to have than to have to feel like you're trying to fit square pegs in round holes, or that you've got more spots than you have players that you think deserve it. We're on the flip side at the moment, so it's a challenge to manage at times for those boys that miss out, but it's a good problem to have as far as performance goes up top.
Darcy's hot to lose now, Nathan?
I wouldn't say that after 1 week, but he performed very well.